everyone, and welcome to your February forecast. And this month I'm putting all of the forecasts together to make it easier for you to jump between your sun sign when you've listened to that, to go back or forward and listen to your moon and rising sign. In the description down below you will see the timestamps, so you can easily find it right there without having to go look for my other videos. And we'll see how this format works out for you here this month, okay? Let's get to it. Hello, Aries. So listen, February, right? And oh wow, there is something really, really beautiful taking place on the new moon this month, which will be conjuncting both Venus and Jupiter. That will take place in your 11th house. So that has everything to do with your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. It's all about your tribe, your circle of friends, right? Groups and organizations. So when we speak about this new moon, we really do want to focus on what is it that you truly want? What do you want to achieve in this area? Because this is going to give you a jump start to expand and to bring a lot of joy and happiness and beauty, right? Jupiter is expansion with that happy-go-lucky type of wonderful energy, and Venus brings beauty and love into the picture. Those of you starting a new relationship, let me just mention that to you, Aries. This is a wonderful time to do so. Now, it is February 11th, so it's not necessarily Valentine's Day, but leading up to Valentine's Day. And this Venus and Jupiter conjunction, though, give it a few days leading up to the 11th. I'd say around the 8th or 9th of February, you'll start feeling it. You know how it is when the heart chakra bubbles up, right? And your heart will expand. The 11th, it'll be exact, and then you'll still feel the after effects straight through the 13th. So that is the day before Valentine's Day. It's all good now because the effect of this build up and accumulation, well, you'll feel that on the 14th. That is one of the greatest news here for you. But let's take a look at what's going on. You have a stockpile of energy, Aries, going in your 11th house. You have Saturn, Jupiter, Sun. You get the new moon, and you got Mercury retrograde. So this is where the action is going. You have that Venus, Jupiter that we just mentioned, but the Sun and Saturn is there, so your focus is here. Maybe there's new people coming into your life, a new group, a new network. In that case, they can have some long-term effect on this union because of Saturn. Saturn's going to be here for the next couple of years. So whatever connections that you can make within any groups, organizations, hey, this is awesome. If you have meetings set, then try to, have it dated between, say, the 9th and the 13th. Then you know that you are in perfect order. The only thing I would like to point out that we need to be extra careful about is Mercury's being retrograde right there when everything else is going on. So we want to make sure that the fine print is read. If you're creating any kind of contracts, read the fine print, right? And make sure, double check with what communications, what agreements that you're coming to. Because of the joy and the expansion, we might leap before we look at those details, and then we might be sorry down the road. Okay, so that new moon is conjunct Mercury retrograde on the 11th. So let's be careful with that, just to make sure that we're all okay. And what else for you here this month, Aries? We got Mars now cruising your second house for money and income. It is somewhat conjunct there with Uranus, but you probably felt that more so, say, 3rd to 4th week. In January, there could have been a bump up or something unexpected taking place, which could open new doors, perhaps, but there could have been an unexpected big expense, too. So, at least that's now behind you as you start off the month of February, but you're also looking at getting your numbers in a row, getting your ducks in a row, in other words. I do feel, that we have the full moon in your 6th house for health. That will be a little later in the month on February 27th, 8 degrees in Virgo. So that's where that's going to be illuminated in the work area. Not necessarily saying your career per se, it's how we work on a day-to-day basis with your coworkers and so forth, or how your routine is being set up. So something is going to be highlight there. All right, Taurus, let's take a look at what's going on in your life here astrologically in February. Hey, listen, you got a stockpile of planets in your career house. So this is going to be the best month of the year to get things done. Not just because you got all that energy going on there, but you also have some beautiful conjunctions between Venus and Jupiter. Best time of the year for Venus, which is love, it's romance, but it's also money. And Jupiter will amplify and expand everything it touches. So there's going to be an expansion with love, romance, money matters. Since it's your career house, there could be an expansion now, maybe a raise or a promotion that you are due for here this month. So pay attention to especially around February 11th, but you will feel that Jupiter and Venus is going to work together in that conjunction from the 9th to the 13th. So this is leading up to Valentine's Day on the 14th. I'm sure that those of you in a relationship will feel this lead up, and even Valentine's Day should be super, super sweet. For those of you single, hey, you might just find somebody under this beautiful aspect, this beautiful conjunction with Venus and Jupiter. Now the new moon is there too, mind you. And so again, on the 11th, the new moon is conjunct both Venus and Jupiter. And the only thing we need to be a little bit wary about is that it's very close to Mercury retrograde, also going on the same period. So what we want to make sure when under any Mercury retrograde is that we're hearing things correctly, right? That we know that we're not just assuming things. So we want to kind of double check. Now, if there's contracts, especially for you here, Taurus, since we're talking about work and career, make sure that any signatures, well, if you can delay, nothing is better, right? We don't typically like to sign any kind of contracts when she is retrograde, he or she, Mercury, that is, because we might just have to redo it down the road. If you have to, well, you know how they say the show must go on, but then be sure to read the fine print, okay? Anything now within your career can go a little bit haywire, but with the other beautiful aspects, there's so much good news going on, right? Maybe too good to believe. Maybe therefore Mercury wants to double check everything, especially there around the 11th or that week up, should I say. Pluto's still in your 9th house. You had so much going on there last year in that area. It has now moved into your career house. Jupiter and Saturn, they're going to stay here for quite a while. So this is just the beginning, and that new moon is really triggering it, just starting it. It's the tip of the iceberg. Mars this month, I'd like to say if we go back to late January, you will see that Mars and Uranus conjunct. So there might have been some unexpected surprise that you needed to deal with. And I feel it has to do with you personally because it's your first house. So that's your physical body, right? It is the inner I am of who you are and who you portray, the energy that you send out into the world. So there could have been a little unexpected situation there. But now that Mars is moving away from it, you're getting a good grip on it. But it could have been a little bit, should I say, unexpected, not just because of that conjunction in and of itself, but also squaring into your career. So it could have first come with that little bump in the road, the little OMG, now what, right? That was like mid to late January, but coming in now into February, you're starting to figure out where to go from here to get to there. And sometimes we might even see in hindsight that it could have maybe even been a blessing in disguise. All right? So keep your hopes and faith up if you're listening to this on the January end of this February reading, just so that you know good things are coming. Right? The full moon will be in your 5th house for children, self-expression, creativity, and so forth, at 8 degrees Virgo on the 27th. So we'll do a separate video just on Mercury retrograde for this month. More information on it. We'll also be doing a new moon reading, so you can tune into that if you are subscribed to the channel, along with our Astro Tarot forecast for the week. Every Sunday we will be looking at the week ahead with a 36 card spread for what you can expect. So yeah, sign in to the channel, subscribe. It will show up in your notifications if you hit that bell. And see you there. Hello Gemini, look at you with a crowded 9th house this month here of February. That tells me that you are onto something, aren't you? Kind of diving in, doing your research. That's something you're really good about as is. But now we have Saturn, Jupiter, the Sun, the new moon, Mercury, which, mind you, is retrograde, and will be joined with Venus. Now, that is a party right there. So whatever you're researching, studying, maybe some of you are taking classes, or you're just, researching online, but all of this is preparation for where it's going to take you in your career once all of these energies move into your 10th house, which isn't quite yet, but this month is super, super important. I'll tell you why. You know how we talk about the new moons, and that is the time of the month that we want to place our intentions, right? Good intentions for those things that we want to achieve. Well, this month it's going to be kissed by none less than Venus and Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter are conjunct, so on the 11th of the new moon, all three will be there. Now, yes, Venus rules love and romance and beauty and creativity, all those things, but it also rules money, mind you, and Jupiter rules big money, but Jupiter also expands everything it touches. So Jupiter is touching upon Venus and the new moon, which is your intentions. So this is a month to dream, and dream big, Gemini, as large as you can. Sky is the limit, right? So I can see how you have been working so hard throughout 2020 to really figure out income streams, savings, and whatnot. Maybe some of you had to eat through your savings, wanting to replenish them now. Well, here you are brainstorming. What a great brainstorm to have. Now, with Mercury retrograde, we do have a little bit to be mindful of, because that will also be conjuncting this. So, yes, there could be good proposals coming in, there could be projects coming in, and it can seem too good to be true because the planets are so wonderful. But with the retrograde, make sure, Gemini, read the fine print and try to hold off on signing any contract at least to the end of the month. Now, Mercury will be retrograde from January 30th to February 21st. Give it a plus minus 15 days there when it's in the shadow, but then you should be good to go. You can discuss, you can plot, you can plan, you can discuss and negotiate. All that is good, but hold off with any signatures if at all possible. Sometimes, like they say in show business, this show must go on. We can't stop the environment out there just because we're having a retrograde, right? But anyway, I love that for you. It's also the area of long distance traveling. It's for publishing. Some of you might see that your book or your papers are being published this month, which is excellent, and congratulations on it, right? Because you have toiled, you've worked for this. Nothing comes freely. Sometimes it feels like it when it falls in our lap, but do know that hard effort has been done earlier. It's leading up to February 14th of Valentine's, so those days prior to Valentine's, I feel all that is going to be Valentine's energy. And the following next couple of days, so we don't just have one day Valentine's. This year, we actually have a whole little week where our hearts can palpitate in such a beautiful way that our heart chakra is overflowing like the Ace of Cups. All right. What else? I do want to touch a little bit on still keep listening within, though. You have Mars in that 12th house for imagination, dream time, that creative inner voice that speaks to you. Mars still has a lot to harness there and working through. Now, you might have had some kind of brainstorm there the last couple of weeks of January. Some of it might have been even a little bit surprising to you, what came along. But it's liberated you from one direction. Now it's like you've taken a whole new direction. Mars knows where it's heading and going with it. So that's something that you can extrapolate upon. Let's finalize. We have the full moon on the 27th, 8 degrees in Virgo here, Gemini. That is your home area. Home and family is where it's going to be illuminated. Maybe a time to kind of really spend some extra quality time with the family, or also doing things around the home that is needed. So that is the short of your astrology forecast for February. But let me tell you, though, for those of you who don't know, we're starting here now on a Sunday basis to do a 36 card reading, which I call the Astro Tarot reading, which is going to look out ahead for the upcoming month. No, excuse me, the upcoming week. Every week we're going to do a 36 card spread, Astro Tarot. So if you are subscribed, that should show up in your notification feed. If not, hit that bell so you're sure that you will get it and participate with us, all right? Hello, Cancer. This is your forecast for February 2021, and look at you. Now, you processed so much there in 2020 as far as relationships or anyone you were in close contact with on a one-on-one basis. A lot of that was shape-shifting for you. Now the energies have moved into your 8th house, which has more to do with, well, we call it the area of intimacy, but also it is shared resources. The money that you have shared with your partner or alongside, say, with institutions like banks and stocks, bonds, investments, those kind of thing, are also commissions, royalties. You're going to see a big swing up here in your financial world, Cancer, starting this month. We're not necessarily talking your week to week or month to month paycheck. That's more the 2nd house. The 8th house is more what we're putting aside or saving or investing or growing or getting in small little lump sums or even big lump sums. So yes, we have Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, New Moon, and Mercury. Mercury is retrograde, mind you, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We want to keep that in the back of our mind here while it is retrograding between January 30th to February 21st. Avoid signing anything if you can. Sometimes we can't avoid it, but then read the fine print, all right? If you can delay it to after the 21st, give it another 10 days to get out of its shadow. You'll be on safe grounds. Now, what does this mean, though? Because there's so much opportunity. The new moon, Cancer, is showing up here. We know what the new moon is. That's when we place all our intentions for what it is we're wanting to magnetize into manifestation. So your area this month to put your intentions is, how do I grow my savings? How do I grow my accounts? How can I get more royalties, commissions, and passive income streams, for example, is perfect. And this new moon, let me tell you though, it's not going to be hanging there all on its own. Guess what, Cancer? It is getting kissed by none less than both Venus and Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter, they meet up once a year. It's the luckiest day of the year, as they say. This is going to be on the 11th of February with the new moon. So imagine that. That's like the new moon on steroids with megaphones. Really shouting it out loud to the cosmos, right? So really make sure that the 11th doesn't come and go without you and your attention on this place. Venus rules love and romance, of course, but it also rules money. It is in the money area of your chart, and Jupiter will expand anything there. So I feel, yes, it can be a beautiful, intimate month with you, for you, but also a wonderful month financially. And of course, it's tax time. Maybe you're finding other little, not necessarily loopholes, but really setting your tax accounts correctly so that you can benefit from it. Venus is going to be joining into this house just as we enter into February, so it's moving out of where it has been in January in your 7th house. So you've been processing a lot in your relationships, but now you're going to start seeing some harvest time. Mars kind of came into a situation with Uranus there in January, second half of January, where it might have changed up the game a little bit as far as what you were working on. It could have been also in the area of the circle of friendships. There might have been news there. Or it could be you and your social media contacts, the 11th house stuff. They were conjunct. And of course, we never know when Uranus is involved. A conjunction is a little powerful when it lines up with Mars. But you're getting a grip on it. You're moving forward from it, not just with it, but from it. So really trust your own navigation needle right now as you forge forward. Then I'd like to end with a full moon, which is going to be on February 27th, 8 degrees in Virgo, in your 3rd house, Cancer, which has to do with communication, short distance travel, and your neighbors and so forth. So this area will be amplified and lit up for you. And of course, here on Sundays now, we meet up and we do our 36 card reading, which I call the Astro Tarot reading, right, where we look ahead for the oncoming week. So those of you who are subscribed, it will show up in your notification feed so that you can pay attention to your upcoming week as well. Leo, I am so excited for you. Why? Because this is now the beginning of a whole new big cycle for you. You know, 2020 and even 2019, you were working on your foundation and how to really get that flow in your life, changing up your routines. There's been work challenges for you and whatnot. But you know what? It looks like you have such a good grip on it right now that what you're going to come to see here February is a whole new dance, all right? We have now Jupiter and Saturn, which entered in January, into your 7th house of love and relationships, any partnerships one-on-one, people in high places coming in to support you. You've already started to tune in and feel that. But here February, let me tell you though, this new moon, you know how we talk about the new moons? It's the time where we place our intentions for not just the month ahead, but laying the foundation for the entire year should now be your relationships. This is the center of focus this new moon should be for you. And let me tell you though, the blessing of this new moon is it's going to be kissed by none less than Venus and Jupiter. And Venus is all about love and romance. It's also about money. Jupiter will expand anything it touches. So here we have the new moon, we got Venus, and we got Jupiter on the 11th of February. This is right before Valentine's, so you can say you're taking Valentine's early this year because your heart chakra is going to be bubbly and happy and all excited. And you'll have it, in fact, for nearly a week because it's going to start prior to Valentine's and it will still linger in the few days after. What a glorious week. For those of you entering into a new partnership, it's going to be a very fortunate one. For those of you who are single, you might find that significant other. No better time ever than to find that person when it's in the 7th house, because that's long-term relationships, as the 5th house is more short-term relationships, right? So I feel there is support, there's love, there's reason for grounding all of the things that you really, really want right now. Just be aware that Mercury will be retrograde until February 21st. So try to not sign any contracts, okay? And if you have to, show must go on, as always. but then read the fine print. You know, there's always that fear for miscommunications, misunderstandings, delays, and so forth. Don't let that get the best of you, because this is a glorious month. Just be cautious, right? Then we have for you your 10th house. Well, there could have been some career direction changes. Maybe there, the second half of January might have come upon you a little unexpectedly, because a little shock factor right there. However, though, now as you start in February, you know where you're at. You know where you're going from it. Maybe there was a new project that launched upon you, right? Or a change of direction. Okay, now you're already on that path here for a couple of weeks. So you are feeling pretty good in your career placement right now. Trust your intuition. Go with it. I feel you are securing something in a very good and solid way. Make the most of this Mars transit in your 10th house. Won't be back for another couple of years. So this is a time for promotions or having those talks that has to do with potential door openers for your career, especially when we're looking at the people in high places right now in your 7th house that could come in and support exactly that. But you have to express it. They're not mind readers, so don't be afraid to share your vision. Ending off here with the full moon on the 27th of February, 8 degrees in Virgo. Now that here, Leo, is showing up in your 2nd house for money and income, so there could be an extra little thing coming in that you're going to be happy for. It's also the house of value, so you might feel that you're extra appreciated here by the end of the month. So more to come when you tune in with us every Sunday for our Astro Tarot reading, the 36 card reading, where we look out for you in the upcoming week, right? So if you are subscribed, that will be in your notifications. If not, you might want to subscribe and hit that notification bell right now, and I will see you then. Bye now. Hello, Virgo. We are looking at your chart here for February, and it looks like you're going to be super busy this month. We have a pileup of energies in your 6th house, and you know, for you, that's actually really good because that is the area that you rule. So you're going to really come out of this in a grand way. And I say grand because, wow, mid-month we have so much going on. We have not just Mercury retrograde, of course, which we know, which is between January 30th to the 21st. So we want to be careful. Whenever Mercury is retrograde, we know how that goes. Things can be delayed. You know, things can go haywire. Then we're going to have to redo, retweak, all that. However, though, we have also the new moon in conjunction with Venus and Jupiter. Once a year, Venus and Jupiter will conjunct. This year, it's in your 6th house, and it has to do with your day-to-day routine, how you organize things. There might be something new coming to you, a project that you can throw yourself into. Money is involved whenever there's both Venus and Jupiter. They both rule money, but Venus also rules romance. So maybe it's your routine between you and your partner that can get onto a new schedule one way or another. That could be it. There could also be a partnership coming in where we're talking about wanting to do something together financially. For those of you who are single, there could be a new partner showing up, and this is leading up to Valentine's Day on the 14th. So you will be feeling it even then, but it starts already on the 9th, that early. You'll start feeling it building up, where your heart chakra might be blooming and running over. We know how that is. It's like the Ace of Cups, right? So that whole week, 9th to 13th, is really, really good. I'm sure you will have a wonderful Valentine's Day because of this beautiful lead up. And we have the new moon being the place of intentions, right? That is in this 6th house area. So it has the power for the coming month, but also for the whole entire year. Those decisions you make now under this new moon has the power to carry it forward for you, so you don't have to focus on it later down the road. because every new moon will have new areas for you to open up and adjust with your placement of intentions. So remember that. That is on the 11th. The full moon will be in your sign, first house. So that's the area that's going to be illuminated, something there around you on the 27th, especially for those born around 8 degrees in Virgo, where your sun is. You'll be feeling that extra much. But then I can also see that whatever changes you did the last couple of weeks there in January might have been something unexpected that showed up in the area of research or traveling. Maybe you were intended to travel, maybe it didn't happen, maybe it was delayed. Whatever it was unexpected. That's the whole clue here with Uranus. But it looks like you're moving on from it. And I can see how whatever it is your focus is on studying right now, reaching for higher consciousness or preparing for where it is you're thinking you're wanting to go in your career, that will show up once Mars gets into your career house. Everything between now and then, you are preparing for it. And that's going to be the best time of the 2-year cycle that Mars has. But that's not quite yet. We'll get to that next month. And of course, Virgo, there's more information that you can get on the Astro Tarot that we're uploading every Sunday, so you can get a good look on the week ahead through the 36 card reading. So you definitely want to get that alongside with you. All right? Hello, Libra. Well, hey, look at you this month. I think of all the people in the Zodiac, you're the one who's going to have most fun this month. And let me tell you why, though. Look at all the planetary energy you've got going in the 5th house. The 5th house is all about joy, having fun, doing your creative stuff. It's also about romance, new love. It's also about children, self-expression. Look at that pile up. You got Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, New Moon, and Mercury. Mercury, however, is retrograde from January 30th through the 21st. So, yes, we do want to be a little cautious about that, though. And you know how to deal with Mercury retrograde over the years, right? Things can get a little delayed. We might have miscommunications, misunderstandings, and so forth. So just be extra alert when it comes to that you verify if there's some agreements coming in, verify that you're hearing what you're actually thinking you're hearing, and vice versa. And if you can avoid signing any contracts, that would be a good thing. We want to get beyond February 21st. Actually, you would like to delay it even a little bit longer if you can, because of the shadow of the retrograde. Give that another week, 10 days. You'll be good. But let's get to the good stuff here. That new moon this month, February 11th, it will be conjunct Venus and Jupiter. Venus rules romance and it rules money. Jupiter is, the lucky planet of all, which will expand anything that it touches. So expect an expansion romantically. Or if you are single, that you might find somebody this week that really fits your script, right? Because it's also in that romantic area of your chart. But money can be good. Some of you might even find that you could generate more money through creative outlets, right? Say if you're doing art or you have a blog or whatever the deal is, maybe you have a shop. Anything here right now should give you good substance when it comes to making money, but through creative efforts. So it doesn't have to be necessarily your career, but something that you're doing or putting in place. We have the full moon that will be on the 27th of February, 8 degrees in Virgo, and that is in your 12th house there in Libra. So that's what's going to be illuminated. You're probably going to feel a little bit more like you need to kind of pull back. That's what the 12th house does. It wants to pull in internally so that you can go into dream time, imagination and creativity, all those Piscean qualities of that full moon, but in your sign. So that's a time to kind of just rest up a little bit. We do have before I let you go is Mars and Uranus. You might have had something to do here towards the end of January that kind of came a little unexpectedly, like having to take a twist or a turn there financially in either your savings, your investments, could be stocks, bonds, could be your mortgage. Maybe some of you changed that up. Sometimes the universe will do it for us as well. So if there was a bump in the road, I see that this month you're getting on top of it and really pointing where it is you're wanting to head as Mars picks up that energy from where it was end of January and just forging ahead. That is awesome. So more information on what is coming for you, Libra, you'll find it on Sundays when we have our Astro Tarot reading, which will give you a look ahead in the coming week. Hello, Scorpio. So looking at your chart here now, February, look at that. All that energy down at the bottom of your chart, 4th house. That's home, it's family, it's foundation, it's the projects that you're wanting to carry out at home, or just family, entertainment, getting together. We have Saturn, we got Jupiter, we got the Sun, the new moon, and Mercury. Now, Mercury is retrograde, so let's start off there from January 30th through the 21st. So if you're going to have any kind of projects going on at home, make sure that you are aware that Mercury is retrograde. If you have, say, experts or contractors coming in to fix something, make sure that the small print is there, or the fees that you're talking about is correct and not misunderstood, so we don't have a hiccup a little bit later on, right? The good news, though, is the new moon, which of course we always place our intentions. This is the area that you want to place for how you want your home and family life to be. Not just for the oncoming month, but for the entire year. Whatever you're doing now will influence the entire year until you get that new moon next year in this area. However, though, what we do have is Jupiter and Venus are going to be conjunct to this new moon. Now, isn't that beautiful? The new moon full of intentions with love and harmony and beauty, and Jupiter to expand that. There is a celebration going on for you, Scorpio, in the foundation of your life. Now, any of you thinking of buying or selling or something at this point, it could be a wonderful deal that you will find, or you will be getting a great price for the home you're selling because of Venus and Jupiter. Jupiter rules big money, Venus rules money. Saturn will make sure that it is grounded. The only thing we need to be aware of course, is the retrograde, right? Now, you could have had a little bit of a situation. When I look over at your 7th house, Mars has just passed Uranus. So that happened in January, where something kind of hit the wall, should I say. Something unexpected, took a different twist or turn, and I feel that was more like mid-January, but Mars has now moved beyond it. And so I feel that you are now in a good place, taking charge of where your relationship is going, how you want it to be. Whatever that encounter was there mid-January into the 3rd week of January, it taught something. It gave you some insight one way or another. And from it, it's like now you've liberated because it freed you from a certain thing. And now you're taking a different, or should I say a new course perhaps. And you are all on safe grounds again when it comes to that. The Sun is square that Mars, though, so it's between the home and the partnership, where you might feel that you have to kind of balance that, where the energy is going. Maybe you guys are adjusting what is needed, who's doing what, kind of getting on the same page as far as sharing, perhaps, obligations and responsibilities in the home, for example. But then we also do have that full moon, which is showing up in your social area for hopes and dream and for groups and tribes, your tribes out there, something beautiful is going to be illuminated there on the 27th, 8 degrees in Virgo. So we have that, which is good, and more is what we will be tapping in on Scorpio on a weekly basis. We're doing the Astro Tarot, looking out over the oncoming week, and of course, so if you're subscribed, you'll get that in your notifications. If not, make sure that you do subscribe to it so we can take a look at you from week to week as well. Hello, Sagittarius. We're looking at your forecast for the month of February. And as you can see, there's a lot going on down at the bottom of your chart, especially in the third house area. We got Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, the new moon, and Mercury. Venus will be joining us in there as well. So you have a stockpile of energy in the third house, which is what? Well, the third house is all about communication, how you communicate, what you communicate. This is a wonderful time for you who are podcasters, or say you're an author. You will be so inspired with words this month, so make the most out of it, because actually it's really grand. And let me tell you why, though. Now, Venus and Jupiter are going to be conjunct. It's the most positive day of the year, right? Venus, which is love and romance and money, and Jupiter, which is just the blessing that extends and expands everything within love and money, right? So we also do have the new moon conjuncted. And we know that the new moon is all about putting our intentions out there so that we can manifest our intentions. So what better month would be this to do so in? And not only that, but we also have Mercury retrograde very close to it there on the 11th. This is when it's going to take place. So make sure that you're crystal clear on your intentions, and do know in the back of your mind, retrograde is there, right? So we don't want to sign any contracts, especially because you have the third house, which many times deals with contracts and so forth, right? If you can set it off to the end of the month, nothing is better. Retrograde will be going on to the 21st of February, and then give it another 10 days for its shadow to conclude. Then you'll be on safe ground. But I am excited for all of this, because you're really firming something up here, Sagittarius, that can really behoove you, not just now this month, but what you're doing is setting yourself up for the entire year. Whatever you start right now, whatever you put in place, this can carry you throughout the other months, because this is where you're planting the seed. Then give it time to grow, right? We also have your day-to-day routine within work. Mars and Uranus is there. I feel there was something unexpected that came to you towards the end of January, which kind of came out of the blue, but in many ways I feel it's liberated you, set you free. So Mars is now in full action, setting up its own new day-to-day routine within the work area, how you're organizing your life. And then career, this month, look at that. You have the full moon up in your 10th house for career, or the goals that you are aiming towards, and that will be 8 degrees in Virgo. And of course, then whatever it is that you've been working on now this last month, this is where it's going to show up, and it's in a public area. So maybe something you've been doing now will be publicly shown or claimed. And then Sagittarius, tune in with us on Sundays for your Astro Tarot reading, where we look ahead for the oncoming week for those things that are important to us. So every Sunday we will have that, and it should show up in your notifications if you are a subscriber. Hello, Capricorn, look at you. Second house is stacked full of energy. I am just loving to see what you have going on here this month for your income. Yes, we do have Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, New Moon, and Mercury retrograde there, but Venus will also be joining this crowd right as we turn the month And so that couldn't be better. Venus rules this area of your chart. And we also have that new moon that is going to be conjuncting Venus and Jupiter. Now think about that. Hey, Capricorn, the new moon is when we place our intentions, right? Not just for what we want for the coming month, which of course it is, but you're laying the seeds in the ground through this new moon intention that you can actually harvest from the full entire year until it comes back. And this new moon is conjunct Venus and Jupiter. Both of them rule money, right? And it's in the money house. How can this not be better? You are the most fortunate of all the zodiac when it comes to your material side of expansion. I feel a lot of you can get maybe a promotion, a raise, or if you're starting a new business, it will start off with flying wings, okay? Saturn is there to ground it. It's going to be with you for 2 years to make sure that whatever you're expanding, growing right now can be solid. The only volatile energy is that Mercury retrograde. Make sure that you don't sign anything if you can avoid it, at least to the end of February. February 21st is when Mercury goes direct again, but then we still have the shadow of Mercury. So if you can wait to March, nothing is better. But as long as you are aware of it, use the upside, the positive side of Mercury retrograde, which is tapping into the past. You might now be able to implement thoughts, ideas that you had in months or years before and add it to what you are creating right now. That is coming back to you. And that's the blessing of retrogrades, right? We're not just always looking at what can trip things up, but where's the blessings? The blessings is now the past can catch up with you and help you to embed those things that you didn't have time to do earlier. So you want to focus on that too, as well. We do have your 5th house for creativity, self-expression, romance, and so forth. Well, there could have been a little encounter for you, Capricorn, their second week, coming into the 3rd week there of January. That might have been a little unexpected for you, maybe. But right now, it looks like you know where you're heading with it. So whenever there's something unexpected or a little bump in the road, whatever the deal was for you, you have been liberated from a certain aspect from it, because now you have a grip on Mars moving ahead in the direction that you want, and you're feeling good about whatever that situation was. Hello, Aquarius. Wow, look at you this month, February here of 2021, and you have a smack full house with energies going on in your 1st house. The 1st house, Aquarius, is all about you. That's why the sun is there. It's your birthday month. Happy birthday, right? And you have a party of Saturn, Jupiter, the sun, the new moon, Mercury, which is retrograde, but also will be joined by Venus. It just can't get better than this. All of this is going on around you as if you are being celebrated, but above and beyond the normal birthday gift. This is a signature that can really launch you into the rest of this oncoming year. So let's get started and kind of narrow it down what you can expect. Let's start off with Mercury retrograde though. The retrograde is from January 30th to 21st. Now we do need to be aware of, you know how that works. Things can get delayed, and contracts can go haywire. There could be, if you're traveling, there could be delays there too. Whatever it is, misconceptions and understandings. But once we're aware of that, let's look at the good stuff that Mercury retrograde can do for you. Meaning, there might be thoughts, ideas, projects from the past. Anything of the past is okay. That's coming back to you now. So that either you want to implement it, if it is good stuff, or also just to eliminate whatever karmic stuff or situations. But mid-month, on February 11th, leading up to Valentine's Day, we have the new moon. And that new moon this month, we know that that is the time of the month that we place our intentions so that we can manifest those hopes and dreams of those intentions. This new moon is conjunct Venus and Jupiter. Now, Venus rules romantic situation. So there might be a new romantic situation occurring for those of you who might be single. For those of you in a relationship, hey, love and romance is on. And not only that, but it's conjunct Jupiter, which wants to ensure that it's to be celebrated, to grow and expand. There may be great news here of somebody getting married, maybe you are getting married, and all the energy is now just bubbly in your heart chakra, right? There might even be news of a new child coming. Whatever the deal is, it is something that's going to expand your heart. And when we talk about money, well, Venus is money and Jupiter will expand it. It's like big money or good fortune coming in. I don't typically say go run out and get a lottery ticket, but hey, to you guys, I would say that here this month. But only get one ticket though. If you're meant to win, you will win. But luck is my point. Luck is on your side. Now, Mercury retrograde though, however, is also in the mix of this conjunction. So be careful, be aware, don't go overboard with anything, right? You are so level-headed as it is, Aquarius, so I'm not too worried there about you. But it is a month where your personality is going to radiate, it's going to shine. If you've been working a lot now, which I know you have in 2020, when all these planets were in your 12th house, you were working behind the scene. We've talked about that. Now is the time where it's coming out to the forefront and going to show the public what it is you've been working on. So I feel that the feedback that you will be getting is glorious. In the home area, we got Mars, we got Uranus. You're picking up energy there. I feel there's a few projects that you might be working on, wanting to work on, and you might have to divide your time between all that personal stuff that's going on in your life and the family who might need you to help or support or to do those things, all right? Because it is squaring off to that first house. But I feel that whatever was a little uneasy in mid to late January in this very same area is now starting to sort itself out. Maybe you've come to some new agreements or a timing of when you can be available to do whatever. Maybe it's upgrades or something. Maybe it's contractors or whatever. But you're getting a grip on that within the family home domain situation so that is starting to move forward again. Really liking that for. And then we do have the full moon there on February 27th, 8 degrees in Virgo. What does that mean for you, Aquarius? Well, it has to do with things being illuminated. It's the full moon shedding light onto the area of your finances. Now, not necessarily your income, week to week, month to month paycheck, no. It's more your savings, or it could be taxes. Of course, we're in a tax season right now. Maybe you're shedding some light on getting that done, wrapping it up. But savings, investments, stocks, bonds, and so forth, that commissions and royalties too might be talked about or coming into the picture there around the 27th. And of course, on Sundays, we are looking for you the week ahead, what you can expect in the Astro Tarot reading, 36 card reading. So of course that will show up in your notifications if you are a subscriber, and if not, do hit the subscribe button and the bell so you can get notified when these come out every Sunday for you. And then we look for the week ahead. Pisces, listen, this is your February forecast, and we're doing it this way this month. And look at you with all those planets in your 12th house. That's the area that you rule, so you should be comfortable with it. This to me really says that it is dream time, right? Time to kind of go within, visualize, and be creative with what is going on. And listen, we got Saturn, we got Jupiter, we got the Sun, the new moon, Mercury retrograde, and Venus will join the crowd just as we get into February as well. And so we got a couple of really exciting things, but let's just get Mercury retrograde out of the way first, which will be retrograde from January 30th to February 21st. So we just always want to make sure that we're hearing exactly what we're hearing. So we want to, verify with important discussions and so forth, especially anything with contracts and that kind of nature. Read the fine print if you have to sign. If not, I would say get out of the retrograde and the next 7 to 10 days where it's in its shadow. So when you come into March, mid-March, you should be good to go. But the beauty of this month, Pisces, is that this new moon, and we know the new moon is when we place our intentions for the things that we want to create and bring into manifestation. This month, this new moon is going to be conjunct not only Venus, but also Jupiter. Jupiter and Venus are going to be conjunct for that whole week, I'd say from the 9th to the 13th. That sets us smack in the middle of February 11th, when the new moon is exact to these two planets. So it's time to dream big. The sky is the limit. Why? Because you're Pisces. The ocean, there's no limit to the ocean. Right? You are the ocean. The sky is the limit. You are so creative now, and you're going to be needing time to pull back from the outer world, and you've been so busy. 2020 was actually, in spite of it being a lockdown period with COVID, I feel that you were busy out there supporting, being with friends and whatnot, but now it's time to kind of pull within because of all this piled up energy that wants to express itself. You're going to be able to create a lot this month if your focus is there. Venus rules love and romance, right? But it also rules what you love to do. And Jupiter, of course, will expand anything it touches. So these two together in a kiss, it's the best day of the year for Venus and Jupiter to be together. And let alone with the new moon when we place intentions, because that's going to spark off a whole new cycle for you, not just for the oncoming month, but the seeds that you plant this month, February 11th, Pisces, will carry you straight through that of 2021 until the new moon comes back into this area in 2022, a year from now. So plant good seeds, be generous with them, don't hold back. Jupiter gives you a big pile of seeds to plant, and you will just see how things are going to be flourishing throughout the rest of the year. Now, next to that, in your third house, you got Jupiter and Mars. They have just passed each other. So mid to late January, you might have had a situation where there could have been a couple of things that came up unexpectedly with your communication. Maybe you launched something. Uranus rules the internet. It rules communication in a higher sense. The third house is communication, but Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, which communicates. So I could feel there was a very passionate, strong download, channeling type of information that might have gone out. You're working on this right now, and you might have had to separate yourself from something in order to make this work. But Mars now has a good grip on it. You might have just been so busy that you couldn't see the forest for all the trees, but Mars is now getting and gaining its traction. You have now set a type of new routine that is working for you. Mars is aimed where it's going, and communication is going to be a big thing for you here in February as long as Mars is here. The full moon will be on the 27th of February in your 7th house for relationships. Now, think about that Venus-Jupiter conjunction. There might be somebody new coming into your life around February 11th, kind of setting you up there for Valentine's Day. For those of you in a relationship, will have a wonderful relationship there mid-month, but then pay attention as you coming into the 27th with the full moon to see where that might potentially have taken you. All right, so we have that, and then Pisces, for those of you who have already subscribed, every week we're looking out for you with the Astro Tarot reading, the 36 card reading every Sunday. We look out for the oncoming week ahead. So I'll see you there now next. And in the meanwhile, I wish you and bid you a wonderful month of February.